Stand by
Think
me.
I'll
Is that the right
see.
song?
Yeah.
Yeah, Stand By Me. Stand by
I don't know
me.
if we've got any of the words right there.
Come, darling, darling, stand by
Stand
me.
by me.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Stand by me. Ra-da-dum, ra-da-bum, ra-bum-bum,
Stand by
ra-da-bum-bum,
me. Stand by
ra-da-bum-bum,
me.
ra-da-bum. Anyway.
NC.
Greetings, EastEnders fans, and welcome to another episode of Albert Square After Dark, your weekly EastEnders podcast. This week, discussing the episode's broadcast of EastEnders between the 12th and the 15th of June 2023. How are you? I imagine if you're in the UK, the answer to that question is hot. And if you're in the US, I imagine that the answer to that question is probably cooler than you guys, right? Because the Americans and the Canadians are totally sympathetic to all our heat problems right now. Not we're just having it rinsed out of us on social media at the moment. Sitting next to me, as usual for this podcast, is the delightful Ree. Hello, Ree. How are you?
Hi, Rob. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. If you are watching on YouTube, which you can do, you can watch this in. But yeah, straight into it. If you are watching on YouTube, which you can do, just type in Albert Square After Dark into your YouTube search bar, and you can see us in all Technicolor glory. And what you can also see, so I know that you did a wink there, but you could barely see that you did a wink.
I knew you were going to say that then. I knew you were going to say that when I did it.
Rhea is wearing a new pair of glasses, right? And in normal circumstances, they are a lovely, gorgeous pair of glasses. However,
right.
Yeah, they're lovely. They really, really suit you, and I think they look lovely. However, for the purposes of a halo light and a computer screen, they're glaring like crazy. You could play online poker with them really, really well. Like no more, you wouldn't give off any signs or anything. But in terms of,
people would actually see my cards. To be fair,
that's true as well. Yeah, they would. Yeah.
So
yeah. So let's make out that you're doing. So I wanted everyone to be able to see Ree's lovely glasses. Look how lovely she looks. Give her lots of compliments and say how mean I am.
I have to get permission off him for everything, you know. Yeah. We do like costume choices and everything every week, and he goes, "No, you're not allowed to wear that, don't you, Rob?"
Yeah. This is the third outfit she's had to wear this week. She'll learn. She will learn. I'm telling you, listeners, she will learn.
Have I got to take them off now, or can I keep them on?
Well, you take them off right. You want to keep them off until we go into the first section of the podcast.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks for letting me.
It's all right, Ray. Which we'll do right now. Let's talk about this week's EastEnders. Take them off. So once again, we should start our episode discussion this week with the Knights, because they had a busy old week. Now, first of all, before we go into anything that the Knights actually got up to this week, we've got a new arrival, haven't we? A big old knight in shining armor has officially arrived at the Vic, and with it, a little piece of the Christmas flashback jigsaw. Because one of the biggest questions about the Christmas flash forward, I should say, was what the hell is that suit of armor doing there behind them all? And it was such a random appearance, and yet now it all makes sense.
It all makes sense.
Well, we say it makes sense. Apparently, George has had this massive suit of armor around in every single bar he's ever owned. Which I mean,
I can see that in Marbella or that kind of place. To be fair, because
you you sort of have those sort of English bars, don't you? That have got that kind of distinctly British look about them. So I can see that working quite well.
Exactly.
It's quite a large talisman to carry around every single bar that you go to, though, isn't it? That's quite clunky.
And ship over, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like how do you get a knight through customs? That can't be easy.
Can you imagine how much that cost in postage?
God. I know.
And it'll be heavy as well. It all goes on weight, doesn't it?
Imagine poor Howie trying to deliver that to the Vic on his little bike. That would have been a nightmare.
Oh, I don't think it'll be Royal Mail. Be a parcel force special.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Arriving in a big old box.
Yeah.
Anyway.
DPD International.
That must be. Or other services are available.
Others, yes.
Mm-hmm. Right, so basically this week is all about Elaine and her trying to sort of get to grips with how to kind of keep the girls happy, because what we discover is that when they first arrived, it seemed that, kind of all was well with Elaine and the girls. She seemed kind of quite close with them, because presumably her and George have been together for about a year by that point. But as it turns out, Gina especially is kind of a little bit sort of cautious around Elaine. She's sort of like, well, you're not my mum and you need to stop acting like her immediately. Some very bitchy sides of Gina came out this week, didn't it? It was
just a little bit. I did not expect any of that this week. Elaine even seemed a little bit scared of her, to be fair.
Yeah, I thought that. I mean,
okay,
so leading up to this, Elaine wants basically to set Gina up and to kind of make her feel at home in Walford, and no better way to make somebody feel at home in an area than to get them laid immediately. It makes perfect sense, really. I wish someone had done that to
obviously.
me. I wish I had someone like that in my life to do every single time I move to a new area. Right, I need to get you laid. All right, then that's fine. And
then you'll feel at home.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the first episode of the week is all kind of a little bit comedy of errors. You know, it's like Gina wants Zach. Despite a semi-friendly warning from Whitney that Zach was very much taken. I mean, a semi-friendly, like a very on the outskirts of friendly, on its way into passive-aggressive town.
Fully fair there.
Fully fair. But what I quite enjoyed was the little quip that Linda gave to Whitney. That was brilliant.
Oh, in the cafe.
Likes that.
She's not the first person around here to try and take someone's man.
I mean,
meow.
No, neither do I. That was a whip. That was a whip you just tried to do, wasn't it? You went to do that, but you did a whip instead.
I don't know why I was thinking of some of Friends where he goes whoopah instead of meow. Anyway, ignore me.
Bless. But I tell you what, six years that happened. That Whitney tried it on with me. 6 years ago, and Linda has not forgotten or forgiven, which I like. I hope that remains a bone of contention between Linda and Whitney for the rest of time. Because I think
it will. I think it's always going to be under the surface, isn't it?
Bless Linda. She's a lot of things, but she's not she doesn't forgive all that easily in terms of when it comes to Nick, does she? No. But anyway, so Gina is basically trying to spend the week trying to get with Zach, and that all kind of falls apart because Elaine gets confused and tries to set her up with Freddie, who does fancy her. One thing about Freddie, however, this week with this, because Elaine tells him, right, I need you to come to the Vic later and appear sexy. Freddie gets it into his head that Elaine fancies him, and yet he still turns up later and has no interest in Elaine because she's an older woman and makes that quite clear, and yet still turns up at the Vic. Looking sexy.
She's engaged to like a champion.
And she's engaged to George.
As well. Like, would you not be a bit scared?
Wasn't bothered about that whatsoever. Yeah, all right, I'll turn up in my old Twinkie gear, and look at it. Didn't bother Freddie at all. He's a blessing. Bless his cottons. And that all sort of, once everybody realizes their mistakes, Elaine chucks a drink at Freddie, and basically Gina is mortified by all this. And goes up because her and Anna have had a bet about Zach. Was it 50 quid or something? I bet you 50 quid that I can sleep with Zach by the end of the day or something. And so
that she could get his number or something. I think.
Yeah, that was it.
Something like that.
Yeah. But to pay for this bet, Gina basically, to punish Elaine for humiliating her, takes this 50 quid out of her purse.
Did not click that's. Okay, that's why she took the money. Okay, that makes more sense.
But I thought Elaine took that. I thought that Elaine took that pretty well. Like, just regardless of the fact that, all right, I shouldn't have humiliated her. I failed there. I'd have been like, hang on a minute. Do you want to give that 50 quid out of my purse back?
Instead, it were a bit like, oh yeah, you're right. Maybe I shouldn't just leave my purse laying around.
I deserve that. That was very silly of me. I'm sorry.
It's when theft okay. Like
I'd have got ape.
Also,
I'd have got ape.
How nasty with Gina? They were for that.
Well, this is the thing with Gina. Bearing in mind that we have our theory, shall we say, about who her mother is, you kind of wonder how much of said mother has kind of genetically been passed on to Gina. Because you kind of get the sense...
Or is it the father? This other side to him that we haven't seen?
Yeah, I think it's more likely to be the mother, isn't it? Because bearing in mind who we know the mother is. We
know, do we? Oh, do we know, Rob? We know, do we, this week? We know who it is. Who is it, Rob?
I don't know. It's not, nothing's been confirmed, Rhea. I don't know anything.
Okay.
But what I will say about that is that we're very likely to find out next week, because were you aware that there was an extended episode next week?
Shut the front door. No, I was not aware.
Yeah. Next week, I think it's next Thursday, is extended. Do you know by how long?
How long?
4 minutes. 4 minutes. That's the extent.
Whoa, something huge must be going on.
4
minutes.
4 whole minutes. And 30 seconds of them will be the credits. So 3.5 minutes.
Why 4 minutes? Why such a big deal? Where have you read this? Why is this?
Well, the
such
spoilers,
big news?
I mean, spoiler alert, but apparently next week we find out exactly what has been going on with Rose. That's all I know. That's all I know because that's all they've told us.
Okay.
That's all they've told us. But that's probably why. But I mean, 4 minutes. I wouldn't exactly call that extended. You know, back in the day, extended used to mean that it was an hour-long episode.
That's not when you said extended. I thought you meant like 30 minutes or something.
At least 15 minutes. No,
that's
4 minutes. 4 minutes. Like that.
That's not even worth mentioning. It's extended. You wouldn't even
4 minutes. 4 minutes suggests that they just forgot to edit it. I don't know. But there we go. We've got a slightly longer episode next week to explain the what apparently has been going on with Rose. So we will find out next week. I tell you what, though, if it is what the rumor mill is suggesting, it was so close to becoming like a completely out of nowhere surprise. I'm so annoyed.
Yeah, it really
that it got
could
spoiled.
have been. I know.
Not even spoiled, ruined. You know, it's not the storyline ruined, but
how shocked would we be?
I know.
Or would we have been had we not known that a certain somebody was coming back? And we've been
exactly.
Them.
Like, do want the sun. Honestly, you're awful people.
Beep it out, please.
I didn't hear what you said, but I'll find it in the edit. I'll beep. You don't need to repeat it. I will beep it out. Thank you very much. Right.
I meant beep out what you just said.
Oh, the sun. I thought you were going to swear.
Let's beep that out again.
Either way, I will. Either way, Rose's disappearance, Rose in inverted commas, has clearly evoked a sort of massive response because George, because Linda is basically now kind of really curious about who Rose is after Gina's reaction. And is kind of thinking, right, well, I need to know what's going on here. Like, what exactly has my mum got herself into? So she tries to read these letters again, and George catches her again. And he tells her that the Spanish police have already been through these letters. So whatever happened in Spain, like he must have rang the police. She must just disappeared off the face of the earth one night, just kind of stepped outside and just walked away. And like the police have been involved, they've interrogated him.
To the point that it's a massive missing person case. Yeah, they've interrogated him and anyone who's close.
Which
huge.
Which is quite mad, really. So, I mean, you're going to need those 3.5 minutes to explain what's been going on.
Maybe that's what it's for. Yeah, maybe that's what it's all about.
We shall have to wait and see, but it's very exciting. Do you think that's Elaine is kind of good with the girls now because Linda's trying to sort it out this little play date with Kim when they had their nails done? It seemed like a bit of.
To be honest, it felt like it came out of nowhere that Gina hated her.
You reckon?
Yeah. And because at first we thought everything was hunky dory. Obviously now we can see it. Yeah, and Gina's always been a little bit fiery.
Yeah.
I've got to say the girls are getting a lot of beef online. I actually like them. I can see them working.
You know what it is? It's just because they're new. It's not that they're not working. It's not that they're not decent, and it's not that they're not being interesting characters. It's purely because they're new. All right. Yeah. Give them a few more months. People will have completely forgotten that they absolutely despised them when they arrived. It means nothing. This initial reaction. And to be fair, Gina especially and Elaine, in all fairness, have kind of come in and like ruffled things a little bit. And that sort of character always gets. I
really like Gina. I want to know more about her. I want to know where this nasty side's come from in this whole.
Yeah.
I mean, she's supposedly had a similar life to her sister, who's really nice. But why she's so, nasty.
Yeah, I'm really, really interested by the sisters, and I like them a lot. And there's a lot of Gina especially is kind of really piquing my interest. I'm getting, Anna will do her thing a bit further later, or maybe they're just focusing more on Gina for now, and Anna will sort of come forward because Anna seems to be, like you say, the nicer one out of the two of them. And Gina is quite fiery and apparently quite, sort of bitch in waiting in some respects.
And you kind of thief. I mean,
the thing is, I don't think it was even a thief. I think she did that as a statement. She had no interest in kind of taking Elaine's money. It's just like, you're paying for me losing this bet. That is your punishment for humiliating me.
Yeah.
But there's quite a ruthless side to Gina as well. And again, that kind of suggests where did she get that from? And it probably wasn't her father. But we shall have to wait and see because, like I say, nothing has been confirmed.
You couldn't possibly comment.
Could not possibly comment. But let us know in the comment section below. What are you expecting to happen next week when we apparently learn a lot more about the Knights? Next on this week's agenda is Stacey, Freddie, Lily, and who we now have a new regular character, Mr. Hawthorne, Mr. Theo Hawthorne. If you noticed, has now crept up the credits and is now in the regular bit. He's not a guest character anymore. So Mr. Hawthorne is around for a little while, and we shall discuss why that might be in a moment. We'll talk about Freddie first. He's been to the doctors, and he's now had his appointment where he's been officially diagnosed with ADHD. He's a combined type, apparently, and he's been described with a really long word, which I've written down. Methylphenidate. That's what he's taking, and apparently that's a stimulant that controls the concentration in his brain. So that's nice. That's all very good. What do you think about this? Like, because I like that they kind of given Freddie this. It's an interesting sort of direction to take a character.
I've got to start off by saying I don't know how he's got diagnosed so quickly, but okay,
that's true.
It's hard to get any diagnosis. Are we supposed to believe that he sold that TV and paid to go private? Because that would be the only explanation for it happening.
I think that's what it was.
They're not mentioned it, but okay.
Well, no, he did briefly say to Stacey. Yeah. He did briefly say to Stacey, if you hadn't let me sell that TV, then I wouldn't be doing this. So yeah, I think that's.
Oh right, yeah, that is it then. I didn't catch that bit, but yeah. I'm just interested to see why it's relevant that they've diagnosed him with it and what this is leading to, because it can't just be that and that he's on meds and then they're not going to mention it again, right?
No, it might well be. I mean, it's just an addition. It's just an addition to his character, and I think it's to show that, you know, to show how people with ADHD can sort of go about life relatively normally, you know, and just. And you know, they're sort of making a big thing of Freddie this week and saying that he might well go into a kind of an entrepreneurial role.
Yeah,
sort of brought out
don't need to uni kind of thing.
And used other famous people like Lord Sugar. I didn't know Lord Sugar had ADHD. Did you? I thought that was.
Oh, I didn't know that that's what they were saying. I thought they were just saying that they didn't go to university. Those people.
I think that might have been it, actually. That might have been it. Yeah, I'll pay more. Maybe I need some methylphenidate. That might.
I think perhaps.
Might make me concentrate a little bit harder, shall it? I think it might.
Yeah, they were trying to say that all these people have not been to university and saying it won't be the be all and end all if Freddie doesn't go to university. He could be an entrepreneur in other ways without being academic.
I mean, what would Freddie do? Really?
Sorry, can I just add that implies that people with ADHD can't be academic? Because they can be.
I don't think it does. I think it kind of suggests that Freddie definitely is.
Freddie. But that's what I'm saying. They're using it like, well, because you've got ADHD, you can't, rather than maybe he's just not an academic person regardless.
Yeah, I think that is what they're doing. I think they've established quite early on that Freddie just isn't academic. You know,
I felt like they were saying it because of his ADHD. He can't go to university.
I don't think.
That's all right.
I don't think that's what they were saying.
Good. Okay, good.
Because I mean, Freddie isn't academic, is he? You can sort of tell. I mean, this is a guy that thought that people lived on Mars. So he's not. He doesn't. You know, he doesn't probably not that.
Can I say something, Rob?
Yes, go on then, Ree.
He's growing on me a little bit.
He is me. Yeah, he is me. I wasn't sure.
It took a while. It's a slow burner.
Exactly the same. I wasn't sure about Freddie at first. I was kind of like, I don't know. But he is really, really growing on me. I like his relationship with Bobby, especially. I think that's really cute.
Yeah.
That's great.
I like that.
And he's sweet, he's endearing, and he's got a sort of like you get a lot of sort of young, pretty lads on Albert Square over the years. You know, and they're kind of you know, talk cheap and cheerful, you know, sort of the young Alfie types, you know, Mickey Pierce, all that kind of, you know, that kind of lad. But he's not like that. He's kind of got a slightly more spiritual side to him. He's a very kind of caring human being. He's really nice, and quite naive and sweet with it as well.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes you think, innocent. And he's just a nice bloke, and he's got like a really sort of nice energy about him.
And it's kind of nice to have him in the Slater household where it's all doom and gloom, and him to be the little one in corner who's like, come on, Stice, come on.
And he brings a lot of joy to the Slater household, actually. They're all really fond of him. Yeah. You know, I like his relationship with Gene. I like his relationship with Stacey. And he is really, much to my annoyance, he is really, really growing on me. So there you go.
He's not really, really growing on me. Oh, he's growing on me.
Oh, okay. You're not in the really stage
I'm still at the growing. Yeah.
I wouldn't say, you know, he's not my absolute favourite character.
You love him. What are you on about?
I don't love him. No, but he is really, really. I'm surprised by how much he's growing on me. That's what I mean. I think he is.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, there you go. So that's all kind of gone on. That's all fine and dandy. And to go to this appointment, Jean goes with him, and Theo goes with him as well. Now, you kind of thought Theo was just sort of there for the Freddie storyline. You kind of thought, oh well, he's kind of trying to make amends with how he was with Freddie when Freddie was at school. Fair enough. We get to see quite a lot more of Theo this week, because he overhears Stacey and Lily arguing because Lily wants this new pair of trainers, and he gets Lily the trainers, and sort of then when Stacey goes, no, I said no, and we can't afford them. We ain't a charity case. Him and Lily then have scenes where he's saying, I just tell her a lie, just put them in the bin, it'll be our little secret and all that kind of thing, which immediately red flags waving around
ding,
everywhere.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, like pervert alert, pervert alert, pervert alert. But by the end of the week, I was kind of thinking, I think it's Stacey he's after rather than Lily. And because Stacey made comment this week about the fact that she's kind of still on the site, and this bloke that she's been chatting to, kind of the one customer that she's still got, kind of kept her up all night. Like that's kind of blatantly Theo, isn't it?
Yeah. But also, is he trying to be a bit of a pedo?
No, I don't think I don't think he has any interest in Lily other than it. If he can work through Lily to get to Stacey, I think is his plan.
I don't know. It was implied a bit too much that he's after Lily. It was the conversation that he had with Lily, where he was saying, "Oh no, your friends are just jealous" and all that stuff. That
Oh no, there was blatant manipulation going on there for sure. I don't know. It's an odd one for me because I thought if he is just after Stacey, then I don't know if he is.
But then why go against what Stacey said about not taking the trainers if it is Stacey that he's trying to impress?
But I think he's trying to impress. Yeah, but I think he's trying to impress Lily in order to make it easy to then impress Stacey. Was my thinking behind it. Which is slightly less weird than trying to basically butter up a teenager.
Either way, he's a pervert, isn't he? Either way, right?
Why when he fancies Stacey? What? Because he's a customer on the site?
Well, not that you are a pervert if you're sorry.
It's literally what you just said.
Yes, but the way that
anybody who applies for those websites is a pervert.
Go on,
get yourself out of that.
I did.
I don't think you did.
I'm trying not to swear right now.
I noticed. Yeah, it's very difficult for you, isn't it? So, I mean, yeah, but basically what we're saying is that the idea is the vibe we're supposed to be getting off him is kind of sirens, red flag, pervert alert, isn't it? Which I get, but
there's something not quite right.
Oh, for sure. But what I get off Theo is the fact that like when he first came in, he kind of came across immediately. He's quite disheveled, down on his luck, and sort of clearly, and you got the sense you can sense that he probably lives alone. And maybe plays a train set at home and just has that kind of very quiet, isolated lifestyle, which I don't know if it's necessarily a good thing to kind of portray someone like that in pervy mode. You know what I mean? Like I don't know whether, I don't know, maybe that's just me sort of feeling sorry for somebody that could also be just a bit of an underdog of life and just hasn't been that lucky.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. But to be honest though, I think if you're being really honest with yourself as the Slater household, wouldn't you be going, why is Freddie's teacher still here? Like, that's weird. Why is he still involved? Like, why are you so bothered? Like,
well, I don't know, because you could sort of take from that this guy wants to just make up for being quite a bad teacher to Freddie. Like, really, if he had been a better teacher to Freddie, then Freddie would have been diagnosed with this a lot sooner, and his life would have been
sure
easier.
he weren't Freddie's only teacher as well at school.
Oh, no,
I think it's weird that he's still involved. I'm just saying that'd be a red flag to me. Like, why is he still around?
So I mean, where is this going to go from here? Do you reckon? I think personally that he's after Stacey. I do think that because there was a sort of moment he wanted to buy her a drink this week, and he was sort of there was a few scenes of them just together. So I think that he's trying to work on Lily and like get Lily on side, and then he'll find it easier to get Stacey. Rather than it being that he is interested in underage girls. I think it's Stacey that he's after. But 100% that he's the one that's still paying Stacey for picture photos. Now, that is weird to kind of... But then, again...
Is it?
Well, no, as in what I mean. No, I mean stop that. What I mean is it's weird to like be paying somebody and then be kind of really kind of trying to be quite center in their real lives as well as their work lives. That's weird. Kind of just staying around because you know that that's Stacey. But then you kind of wonder, so what? Did he realize who Stacey was when he first arrived in the Albert Square whilst he was trying to help Freddie? So is there that separate thing? Or
what do you mean? What he'd already seen her on website?
Well, it would be kind of coincidental otherwise, wouldn't it? Because it would mean that he started helping Freddie, kind of went back to Albert Square and like, oh yeah, and you happen to live with that woman that I'm messaging. That's really good. That's good luck.
No, because he wouldn't have known that because he didn't know. They didn't know Stacey's identity until after he were involved. Remember, she didn't show her face, did she?
Yeah, that's what I mean. But that's what I mean. So like, how long was this guy? How long was he talking to her on the side before she showed her face? Because he was the one that was asking for her face. Remember?
Oh, I see.
So
yeah, but I thought that she got this new person after she'd showed her face, and he'd overheard Bernie saying her username. Then all of a sudden, this guy starts messaging her.
Oh, maybe
that's what I thought the order was.
Maybe
let us know.
Let us know. They will. Trust me, they will.
Please do.
Please do, because you know.
That's fine. Good.
Interesting though. I think it's interesting, and I'm sort of. I get the sense that we're supposed to be kind of thinking that he's a bit of a nutter and that he's a bit of a pervert. He's a bit creepy.
After this week, I think it's Lily's after.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But I initially thought it was Stacey, and you've now changed messaging.
He's now changed on to Lily.
Or is it both?
No, I don't think it's both at all. I think it's Stacey. I think he's using Lily to get to Stacey. That's my guess.
Enough.
But let us know what you think in the comment section. Is he after Lily or is he after Stacey? And should the Slaters be worried? Are red flags supposed to be waving everywhere at Theo, or is there maybe another side to him? Early days, but we shall see. Right, before we go on, apologies if Ree's mic sounds a little bit different to audio listeners. You might just went a bit weird then, didn't it? So we've changed to your headphone mics. So we will move on now to Rocky, Kathy, Joe, and a new arrival, Jasper the Parrot. Joe returns this week, where we see the lovely Vicky Michelle strutting her way back onto the square again. And she has returned with the divorce papers. And she is basically, she's turned up and she's seems determined, basically, to make Rocky's life as miserable as physically possible, kind of taunting him, and then sort of drops before she leaves. Oh, Jasper says hi, by the way, and Rocky is kind of in uproar about this, and like, oh, I need to see Jasper, and Bobby overhears him talking on the phone, and basically comes to the, I think, quite reasonable assumption that Jasper is Rocky's son, and that's certainly what I thought. I was kind of fine with, totally believe that. But what we do discover is that Jasper is not a human. He is a talking parrot. Now, I have no objection to a new animal on the square. I like it when the characters have pets. It's all very realistic and all very nice. The fact that this is a talking parrot concerns me, because that would kind of make me wonder if this parrot that can apparently sort of learn what people say is going to end up sort of revealing and
very
sort
good
of
point.
I don't know, but I don't want that to happen, because that's a bit
no I don't, but that would kind of make sense as to why they've introduced a talking parrot.
It's been my assumption that parrots learn to talk from repetition, and you're not exactly going to repeat your secret again and again and again until a parrot can learn it.
True.
I mean, I might be wrong. Maybe if there's any parrot owners out there, let me know what the procedure is for a parrot learning to talk. But I mean, having said that, what could it possibly learn in the Beale household? Because it's sort of like,
I don't know. Could be another Rocky secret, I guess, or Bobby or Ben. I mean, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I do wonder, because
Ben pops in, doesn't he, to visit?
Yeah, that's true.
Going to overhear him saying something.
That's true.
Or maybe the parrot's going to reveal something about Joe.
I mean, Joe, by the way, it seems quite interested in kind of keep coming back and sort of getting more money out of Rocky.
Dollar bills.
Yeah, which I don't mind. I quite like Joe. I think she's quite funny. I like her sort of rivalry with Kathy. I don't think she's a character that will kind of be constantly coming backwards and forwards, but I think she's got. I think she's certainly got a bit more mileage in her. I like her.
Well, nice how they sat and had a glass of wine together, though, weren't it?
Oh yeah, this is the thing. She's one of these that recognises the importance of wine etiquette right? So even if I'm your
Yeah.
rival, I will pour you a glass of wine and we should discuss
Yeah,
this.
but we'll have a wine and
Yeah, too right. That's the way to do it. So yeah, interesting. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this parrot yet. I mean, it's a nice parrot, and I quite like the fact that Rocky's kind of got this obsession over a parrot. That's interesting. I don't know. We'll see. I don't want it to recite somebody's secret though. That's a bit rubbish. I don't know if I like that.
I've not even thought of that. So
I don't.
yeah, it
Yeah,
probably is going to be that though, isn't it?
I'm nervous about if it's for a comedy purposes, then fine. All right, I don't mind if it's for a comedy storyline.
Yeah.
But if it is like instrumental in revealing a massive part of a storyline, I don't know if I'll like that. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, let's see. Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see. The other thing that we can take out of this, however, is that Kathy and Rocky are officially planning their wedding. They're getting married next month, apparently, and Kathy wants Ian at the wedding, which you can understand. It makes sense. Why would Ian miss his mum's wedding? So, I mean, imagine Ian returning. That's something that's kind of been thrown around the room a little bit as well. This kind of solidifies it, and it also sort of solidifies other aspects of said rumor as well, doesn't it? It's all starting to come together a little bit.
Definitely.
Which that's what
do you think he's going to come back before the wedding, or do you think he's going to come back for the wedding?
Well, I mean, it depends how long it takes to get in touch with him, because the assumption with Ian so far is that nobody knows where he is.
Yeah, but then Rocky was like, "Oh, come on, I don't understand all the social medias, Bobby. Come on, help me find him." It's like, well, if you don't want to be found, can't see Ian being on Facebook.
I feel like
under a fake name or something. Like if it was that easy, then
like Rose,
they found him already.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. Like I think when he first went away, I think Sharon was trying to get in touch with him and had no luck whatsoever. And then he's kind of sent the odd birthday card here and there. So we've had little kind of sprinkles of Ian whilst he's been away. They don't know
where he is,
but they've got no idea where he is. And obviously when we saw him at Dot's funeral, all we got was the phone call, and we didn't know where he was or what he was doing. We just saw that he was there. So he's clearly capable of coming back to a square. He's in the UK. He's not kind of run away to another country or anything, as far as we know. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. If Ian is returning, nothing has been confirmed, Ree. Nothing has been confirmed whatsoever. I hate the paper that revealed all this. I'm so angry. It's ruined it all. I'm so annoyed about it.
Don't say the name again.
I won't say the name again. I won't give them any. The moon paper. No. But yeah, we'll wait and see how this goes. We'll see what trouble Jasper can cause the Beale household, and we'll see if Kathy gets her wish about Ian. Last story of the week, then, ladies and gentlemen, is the big one of the week again. It's the Panasars. Final story of the week now is once again the Panasars, who were very much the A story of this week. And we need to have a conversation about little Vinny Panasar, don't we? I mean, he has had a week and a half, bless him. We discussed last week how it was unlikely that Vinny was going to be able to deal with the repercussions of anything that was going on behind his back very well. And we were slightly proven right. Bless him. He doesn't deal well with any sort of pressure. And I would love to know what is going on in Vinny's head. The mind of Vinny Panasar must be an odd little place. So I kind of imagine it like sort of what's in a mouse's brain as he's sort of running around a maze, because he's it's like so the week starts with obviously Suki still in hospital after last week with her falling down the stairs, and Vinny spots the burn mark from the kettle that she burned herself on 2 weeks ago, which I kind of figured that was going to become relevant at some point. It was quite a random thing to happen at the time, wasn't it? And this is why. Because Vinny spots that and then sort of gets it into his head that Suki actually tried to kill herself by throwing herself down a set of stairs. Like, quite an extreme way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah,
there's easier ways of killing yourself, Vinny.
I know. I didn't understand that.
I don't know where he got this. I don't know where he got this idea from and
do you
how
know
he
what
jumped
I think it is with Vinny? He ain't got his other siblings to sound things out with, has he? He's got Ravi and Suki's not his mum, so he ain't got anyone else who's like, can you help me figure out what mum and dad are doing? Because I don't understand what's going on. It's
interesting with Vinny because he is the kind of picture of younger child syndrome, isn't he? Like
All right.
like, oh, well, you younger. I'm the older child in mine. You're the younger one.
Yeah, just 10, me.
Yeah,
Yes,
you're
I
all the
am the
same.
youngest.
Yeah, you
Go on
can
then,
tell.
tell me more about
You can
youngest child
tell.
syndrome.
You
Come
can
on,
tell you
eldest child.
petulant little cow. You can tell. So no, but Vinny has sort of like he's trying to basically make everything up to Nish. He's trying to sort of be at the same level of Kirat. He's watched Kirat kind of get adoration from Suki for the past 20 years, basically all of his life, because he didn't really know he didn't know Nish at all. So he has grown up with Suki kind of loving Kirat and like making Kirat basically the man of the house. Ash has had her problems with Suki, but he's also seen how both Nish and Suki kind of threw adoration on Ash for what she was doing, being a nurse and being in the health profession and getting a whole GPs for her, whilst he was sort of trying to do his little thing in a little phone store at the side of the laundrette.
Yeah.
And basically, whenever he tries to get himself involved in the actual Panasar businesses, he messes it up, or he makes a mistake, or he does something that Nish doesn't like and always gets shouted at. So you can sort of see why Vinny is constantly trying to impress. And this whole thing, when he discovers, because Vinny is the first person officially, the first Panasar anyway, to discover what is going on with Suki and Eve, because he does it all very sort of nastily.
Other than Kirat, but yeah.
Yeah, Kirat knows, which he doesn't help matters because he realizes that Kirat knew, so he was trusted with the information. So it's another sort of layer to that. And Vinny sort of, he grabs Suki's phone because he sort of worked out that there's something going on with Eve. So he kind of thinks that maybe Eve knows something.
I thought that was quite funny that he was like getting 2 + 2, and you're like, oh, you're so close, but you got 5. No, you're so close, Vinny.
So near and yet so far away from the truth.
Yeah.
But I don't know what he was expected to get back from Eve, other than because if you were in Eve's position, you'd have got that message and gone, what the hell are you on about? That would have been the message you replied. Eve very helpfully replied with, actually, because I love you and I want us to be together, and you're gay and a lesbian, so I want to make you happy because we're both lesbians. So that's really, really helpful. Because we're having an affair. Just to make it really clear to Vinny, because bless Vinny, for all his good qualities, he needed it to be quite clearly sort of labelled to him. It sounds like I'm slagging Vinny off. I don't. I love Vinny as a character. I think he's adorable, and I quite like. Well, not adorable, but I like his role. I like this whole kind of younger child thing being his sort of motivation for his actions, for his troublesome actions per se. Because this is the thing with Vinny. Like whenever he's tried to do anything at all, like any job that Nish has given him, he, when he like, I need you to go break into that shop, he comes back literally covered in glass and like like smothered in glass, and then puts said hoodie into the laundry basket, makes no effort to try and get rid of this glass. When he broke into the Vic, he made it very obvious who it was. So it's just cut his hand. It's all these little things that Vinny keeps doing that kind of forces him to try and up his game a little bit, which is how we end up where we are now. Because the mad thing about this is that he's obviously terrified of Nish. There's no he's scared of his dad because
Nish nearly went for him, didn't he, last week?
Yeah,
he drank police.
Yeah, so he's clearly scared of his dad. And when he walked in and he knows his dad went to prison for murder, and when he walked in and saw Suki at the bottom of the stairs, you could kind of see Vinny, I understand that look in your eyes. I can completely get why you are here, because that's where we are. Like clearly Nish pushed her. We get that, Vinny. That makes sense. So again, I don't know how the hell he went from that, which was closer to the truth, to Suki threw herself down the stairs in an attempt to get away.
Try and kill herself.
That's madness.
And then Eve called the police to say it was Nish.
Especially when he saw that mark on her arm, which could have been a burn, could have been a bruise.
No, it's
nothing. Actually, no, I was wrong. Dad couldn't possibly be an abuser. My mum tried to kill herself. That's mad.
I don't understand that either. I don't get that. And like you say, why would you do it by chucking yourself downstairs?
It's quite an extreme way to do it, isn't it? Vinny Panasar.
You were thinking she wanted it to look like an accident, and that was the most. Way which could make it look like an accident, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. But he's basically kind of, because Ravi kind of reveals that he'd seen the suitcase and basically tells Vinny, she was trying to go. She was trying to get away. which just sends Vinny's mind into all sorts of weird and wonderful places, which is why he's now so angry about it. And he confronts.
He says, doesn't he, at one point, "Oh, is this to do with that bloke that you've been seeing behind Dad's back?" And
Again,
Suki obviously goes, "I'm not seeing a bloke."
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
didn't click then, did it?
No, he still didn't click then. I mean, why would you? But it's again, it's sort of like he's trying to kind of keep Nish happy. Like I think he kind of thinks that this is what Nish would want him to do. He would want Nish to kind of give Suki this ultimatum. The ultimatum being that, right, I will keep your secrets, but you need to be desperately unhappy and end things with Eve and stay with the family for the rest of time. That's the deal in front of you. Like, what does he like? You can't say, "Yeah, I love you, Mom," but in sacrifice, I need you to sacrifice everything that makes you happy and to stay unhappy.
It's such a not a weird's the wrong word, but the scenario is complex, isn't it?
Yes.
So would he be reacting like this if it was an affair with a male, or is he reacting like this because it's a female and now he's understanding that his mum's sexuality is different to what he thought?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is about Suki and her sexuality, and Kira had this issue with it as well. This would be a lot. I think it would be a lot easier for Suki's kids to take if she hadn't given Ash such a hard time because of her own internalized homophobia.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So that does kind of add another layer to it for them, because it's like, well, exactly how what are you like? How many lies have you told us throughout the years? So you can sort of understand why they find that difficult. And this is why it annoys me so much that kind of Ash isn't around to get this secret, because that was such a kind of key component with Suki and Ash's relationship that we haven't. The one person that I'd love to see deal with all this is Ash, and she's not around anymore. Maybe she'll return at some point, and then presumably Ash will come back one day when all of this is done and dusted, and even Suki are quite happily together. Yeah, but then the first thing she's going to say is, "Oh, sorry, what? You're in a relationship with a woman? Me and you need to have a conversation. Thank you very much." So Vinny has given Suki this ultimatum. Eve is left brokenhearted because Suki feels that she needs to stay and keep the family apart. The other thing to kind of take away from this is that Mitch was the one that reported Nish. Now, because when Suki gets back from the hospital, Nish is in ultra overprotective mode, okay, which kind of sets a few
protective inverted commas.
Yeah, protected inverted commas, exactly. And Mitch sort of gets a few red flags. His spidey senses start tingling that there might be something a little bit more sinister going on here. And not helped when he receives a message from Gray. That was a name I never thought I was going to hear again. Dark Memories. Dark Memories.
Flashback.
Honestly, his name was mentioned on screen and I started twitching. I was like, no, please don't bring him back. No. Because Gray wants him to take in Mac and Mia for Father's Day, which is madness. Mac has no intention of seeing Gray whatsoever. Obviously, and Chelsea's not interested in him whatsoever. So hopefully it'll stay that way. Gray will stay in prison, get the message, and never try to come to Walford ever again. That's what we want. None of that. We've done Gray. We had quite the time with Gray. No more, thank you very much. But
so was that just so that Mitch could have that realization?
I think so.
Rather than
it being the start of something.
And a hint that.
I don't know. I can't imagine the.
Why was Chelsea there for him to talk it through with the?
Because Gray is the father of Chelsea's baby.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like, why not? Why did he not just mention it to Bernie or someone? Do you know what I mean?
Because they were all sort of. They were all sort of
leading to Chelsea thinking that she might let Jordan see. Nah,
she would never do that. Never in a million years.
Forget
do that.
Forget that train of thought.
Fucking rubbish, nonsense. I hope it's nonsense. What you were saying there. Fingers crossed. Anyway, so. Yeah, Mitch, with all of this going on, sort of gets ultra sensitive about the idea of domestic violence and domestic abuse, and reports Nish to the police, where he's arrested because who comes around is a police officer and Detective Callum.
Of course.
My favourite part of the entire week was when the police came back after Nish had been arrested, and Eve turned around, like they arrived at the house, and Eve looked out the window and went, "Oh, it's that detective and Callum."
And Callum, yeah.
Spat my tea out. I was drinking tea at the time, and it made me choke. I enjoyed that. I don't think it was supposed to make me laugh,
No,
but it did.
supposed to, no.
But it really, really did. Bless Callum. The thing is, though, those officers at first came in with Nish there and was sort of like, "So have you ever?"
Questioning only. Yeah, and then lured him to the police station and then arrested him.
Well, it wasn't even that. It was the fact that they were asking Suki in front of Nish, "Has your husband ever hit you?" Which to me seems, I don't think they do that, would they?
Well, because they did try and get Nish to leave the room. They did say, "Would like to speak to you alone."
Yeah.
Suki said, "Oh no, you can say what you want in front of my husband." Yeah, but they were there because of the claim. If they need to ask, and she's not letting her husband leave the room, you can't force her to go down to the station on her own.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe.
I know what you're saying. Ethically, what a horrendous idea to ask somebody that in front of a potentially abusive partner. Does that mean that they wouldn't do it in real life? I don't think it.
I don't know. It felt like one of those things where you sort of just like, oh, right, okay. I don't think that would happen. Maybe. No. I don't know.
I reckon it might though, you know.
So yeah, Nish is then kind of arrested and officially charged with ABH, which Suki and Eve then basically spend the rest of the week sort of like plotting away, but Suki doesn't want to report him for something that he hasn't done. So there is sort of still that moral side, still that side of Suki that doesn't want to do absolutely anything to get rid of Nish. It has to be an honesty thing, has to be done so that she doesn't feel a sense of
kind
guilt.
of ironic with all the lies that she's told in her past. Is that why? Is she trying to make amends for that? You know, it's like, I'm a changed person. I don't want to be telling lies to get out of stuff anymore. I'm having a secret affair with a woman, but you know.
Yeah. Do you think Suki is a different character to when she first came in?
100%. I think it quite regularly. It was more so her relationship with Vinny that's made me start thinking that, and how kind and soft she's been, which is actually what made me more angry about Vinny's reaction this week. She's been nothing but really nice and kind and caring towards him, and saying, you don't need to like basically live in your dad's shadow, you're your own person, and that's, you know, that's enough. No, he still can't accept what's happened with her, even though she's shown him nothing but kindness recently. I think
I think it literally, well, I think with Vinny, it literally is that he is doing it for wanting to keep Nish happy. Because I think
I've not considered that.
I think it literally is that, because I think he thinks that like, this is what Dad would want me to do, and this is now my role. This is the role I have to do to kind of keep the family together. I'm now the man of that. I'm now the oldest kid in the family now. None of the kids are around. So Jax is dead. Kierat's in prison and Ash is in Canada. So I'm the only one that's kind of got any responsibility. And Ravi, I don't want to kind of have that role. Understandably, you can sort of see, because even Ravi gets more trust out of Suki and Nish than Vinny does. And Ravi has only literally just arrived on the scene as far as Vinny's concerned. So there was an interesting sort of rivalry between Vinny and Ravi in that way. But all of this does make me think that Vinny is going to be, again, kind of helped my theory from last week that Vinny is going to be responsible for the body on the floor at Christmas.
Interesting.
What also made me think that was there's been a couple of moments with sort of Vinny's journey the past few months. And I only kind of clicked on into it this week, where Suki has been turning around to him and saying things like, you don't have to be on this path. And sort of that sort of conversation with him, and sort of talking about the journey that he's taking since Nish arrived. Like, how are we supposed to look at this and think, how much influence is Nish actually having on Vinny's behaviour? And
see, I would have thought you might have changed your mind this week.
Not at all.
Interesting.
I think that, I think that once like all of Nish's evilness kind of comes out to Vinny, I think he will really struggle with that, and that's my official prediction, is that Vinny kills Nish, and that's Nish.
Because to be fair, when Suki was explaining, you know, her and Eve to Vinny, I did think I don't think that she really explained like how Nish has been all this time, and why, you know what I mean. Although I guess it's irrelevant. I don't know what was she trying to explain, the affair of sexuality, or the fact that she didn't love Nish. But she didn't explain the abusive, coercive relationship.
Yeah, I mean, this is something. Yeah, I mean, when
you might have understood more.
Yeah, because when she had the conversation with Kira, that's exactly what she did. She sort of kind of relayed everything that had happened and actually told him the truth about what had happened on the night that Nish had killed somebody. So again, actually, in fairness, it sort of illustrates Vinny's point that he's not trusted with this information. And this is why he's reacting in the way it is. So it is kind of a result of the way that they treat Vinny as to why he is acting like this.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, this again. I mean, I know full well that, especially the Suki Eve fans or Suki Eve, or however it's pronounced, will be going mad on social media about Vinny this week. I know that, and I hope Vinny's actor is prepared because these fandoms, they can get nasty. But to me it makes.
Oh, there's no need to be nasty, people.
There's no need to be nasty. No need to be nasty. But all of that is why I'm enjoying Vinny as a character. That's because they've just it's a bit like Ben in that respect. You know, all the years that Ben's tried to impress Phil, it's a similar sort of setup in that respect. You know, sort of like, I will do anything to impress you, and I think that's where Vinny is at. Like, he will do anything to try and get Nish on his side and to get that bit of respect that he's never actually had from either of the parents. And it's interesting that you talk about how Suki's been with Vinny, because that has only really been since Nish arrived. And it's like Suki's then had to play the good cop for the first time in basically Vinny's whole life. So, which again kind of makes you think, why have you not been kinder to your mum about this? But I think that's the result. That's the coercive control doesn't just have to be with the partner. That can be with the family as well. And Vinny's definitely a victim of it. So yeah,
I've
interesting.
been surprised though, even still, that he's been so defensive about Nish being a victim of her affair, because he weren't exactly Nish's biggest fan last week, and now all of a sudden he's team Nish out of nowhere. Well, not out of nowhere.
It's not out. Yeah. I mean, there's perhaps a few little kind of gaps in logic to Vinny's thinking, but then Vinny has always been a completely jump to the most insane conclusion type character, where he will just go down a pathway of he'll make up his mind about something and then just sort of deal with it that way in the most unhelpful way possible. You know, it's kind of, you know, when he was with Dottie, he was kind of quite immediate with it, and sort of which was I think was what turned Dottie off him in the end. So yeah, I think Vinny's an interesting character. I do. He's now finally, now all the other kids have kind of gone away, Vinny's kind of getting his time to sort of develop more as a character, which out of all the kids he kind of needed. So I'm pleased to see it, and yeah, it's been done really, really well. I'm impressed. I mean,
Rob,
yes, love.
Sorry, but what's next for Suki and Eve?
Was exactly my next question. So what do you think is next for Suki and Eve? How long are they going to be able to keep their hands off each other?
Oh, exactly. That was the first thing Eve said, wasn't it? It would have been impossible.
I mean,
they'll be back to it next week. It'll all be an affair again, right? Like, I mean, ended it. Mind you, Vinny knows now, so
yeah. Well, see, now the thing is as well, how much longer what's Vinny going to do with this next? Like, so Nish is back. Suki's now back to playing the dutiful wife, which again, how stupid is Nish that Suki literally told him last week, I don't love you, and I never have. And yet he thinks that because he's now back, Suki is going to feel guilty about phoning the police on him, and that will be enough to keep their relationship going for the foreseeable.
Yeah, but he's just so arrogant that I don't even think he heard the part where she said, I never have loved you. It was just, oh no, things will be different because, you know, we've been apart for 20 years. You'll learn to love me again. I didn't hear the rest of it because how would you not? You're my wife.
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to. Suki and Eve are just these two types of lovers that are going to have to be together. It's they're not going to last long. Not, you know, being apart. I think Suki will probably try and do a bit of her thing where she'll, you know, make sure that Nish keeps Eve away, because that's Suki's basic thing, isn't it? You kind of keep people away so that I don't have to deal with you, essentially. So that'll happen for a bit, but then they'll be back together, and that's when it'll all come out, and when Vinny will reveal it. I think. I don't know, but I think Vinny knows he's not the most ideal kid to have found out about it. So I think the run up to Christmas will be this will be the catalyst of it. The fact that Vinny found out is what's going to lead into the events for the rest of the year. I think.
I was thinking that, yeah.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Okay, then that is everything in this storyline and everything of this week's EastEnders. Very busy week this week, lots going on. I surprise you with this every single week, Ree, with this being episode 10.
I just thought it, I'm like, oh.
Go on, give someone a gold star, Ree. Go on, give them a gold star.
No. Who's your god? Why don't you start this?
You want me to go first? All right. I think do you know what? I just because of the extra elements it brought to it, and because I know it's going to annoy some people, and that amuses me. I'm going to give my gold star to Vinny this week.
I wish I'd gone first now because I was thinking Vinny as well. Can I say Vinny as well?
You can say Vinny if you like. It won't go down
well.
Oh,
can I? Thanks. I have to get permission off Rob for everything, you see.
Yeah, me being the boss and everything. Yeah, that's how it works. That's how a relationship has worked for the past 20 years of knowing each other, hasn't it? Yes. Right then, ladies and gents. Yeah, 2 stars for Vinny this week. I think it's just because it's the development of Vinny. I think I've really enjoyed this week. Again, I'm telling you now.
Not because we enjoy. Not because
no, we're not enjoying. We're not enjoying his actions, but I'm enjoying him as a character. It's not. John, we could explain it as much as we want. It's still not going to go down well.
You win some, you lose.
At us. Right then, ladies and gents, let's find out what you have been saying in your comments this week. So we'll finish the show this week with some comments from our Facebook, our socials. If you want to send us a comment or an email, you can do it by following any of our social media outlets or by emailing us. All the details we will give you at the end of the show in a few minutes' time. Ree, what comments have you got to read this week?
I've got one from our Facebook group from Tracy Riccio. She says, Vinny made me so mad. Even when Suki was begging for help, he does nothing. I don't know why he would be so loyal to Nish and treat Suki like that.
Yeah, I mean, we did say this. I mean, it's just, I think the thing is actually agreed. Yeah, and what I will do here actually is I'm going to read a comment from Teresa Robertson, which I think nails the Vinny thing really, really well. I promise you, Teresa, that I did think of some of my own things to say in the podcast. You actually echo quite a lot of what I've said. She says, Vinny is classic case of youngest child syndrome. In some cultures, because firstborns have the greatest responsibility and expectations for achievement placed on them, the youngest children feel left out or less driven towards significant accomplishments. He's always been in the shadow of Kirat and Ash to a lesser extent. He thought with Kirat leaving, he could finally step into his shoes, only to have Ravi, another older sibling he placed before him. Suki has always told him he was not cut out for the family business, and his efforts were never on par with what the rest of the family did. Vinny is like Ben, always looking for daddy's approval and never really measuring up. Which, I would say is the answer to that comment. I mean, I understand completely why people are up in arms about Vinny's behaviour this week, but I think
and rightfully so.
And rightfully so. He's been a little git this week, to say it mildly. Maybe something that rhymes with git. But I think that it's very in character for him. And his actions make sense. We might not like them, but it's really sort of built Vinny up, I think. And it's just, this is why it's again, I say it all the time, but it's one of the reasons why I just love the Panesar family. And they are the best additions to the show in years and years and years. Like, I just love them. There's so many different layers to them. There's so much kind of history amongst them of why they feel the way they do, and loads of little layers to scratch away at each character. It's great. Any other comments this week, Ree?
Yeah, last one from Annalise Bazaar. She says, buying the shoes was, I think, meant to butter up Stacey, not Lily, but it backfired. I'm sure he's been following her on the secret cam or whatever it's called. I predict at some point there will be a couple for a while, though Stacey currently has zero interest. Hannah's kind of adorable. Gina's a chip off the Cindy block. I'm getting convinced.
I mean, Cindy, not that that's been confirmed at all, really. Cindy hasn't been confirmed or any sort of returns or anything like that.
No.
Nothing's been confirmed. We couldn't possibly comment. But yeah, I think that it's
100%.
There's a bit of that with the kids in Walford generally, isn't there? Like, you sort of look at them and you think, yeah, you're your mother's daughter, yeah, you're your father's son, and all of that kind of thing. And I wonder if we're sort of meant to be looking at Gina this week and thinking, oh, all right there, bitch. All right, let's calm down a little bit. Kind of unaware of maybe what kind of pushed her into being that sort of person. It's very, very, very fun and exciting and interesting. I cannot wait And we will be finding out much more, I understand, about the Knight family next week, and we will be here to discuss it. But if you would like to send us any correspondence, an email, a question, a comment on any of the week's episodes, you can do it by doing the following.
You can find us on Facebook on Albert Square After Dark, on Twitter and Instagram at E20 After Dark. If you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. Listen to us on Apple and all your favourite podcast sites, or you can email us at e20afterdarkpodcast@gmail.com.
Marvellous. Yeah, like I said, we will be back same time next week. Hopefully, Ree's microphone will be sorted by then. Sorry if there's been any sort of audio. Technology happens, but we'll hopefully be all sorted for it next week. And we will hopefully see, and you will hopefully see and hear us then. Until then, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Ta-ta. Bye.
Bye.